Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Our lesson today is Unit 4, Lesson 2, which is Sexual and Asexual Reproduction. First of all, what's the meaning of reproduction? Reproduction is a biological process between living organisms, produces new individuals of the same kind, and thus ensuring its continuity. So it happens it's a biological process and produces individuals from the same kind, and what's important about reproduction is keeping continuity of the living organisms. But reproduction has two types, which are sexual and asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, there is a difference between them. First one, asexual reproduction occurs only by one living organism, but sexual reproduction occurs by two living organisms, male and female. In asexual reproduction, it happens in single-celled living organisms such as budding in a yeast and binary fission in amoeba, and in some multicellular animals and plants, which means it occurs in single-celled and multicellular living organisms. But in case of sexual reproduction, it happens in higher living organisms of plants and animals. For type of division, sexual reproduction occurs by mitosis, which doesn't require special systems. But in the other side, it occurs by meiosis. New individuals have genetic traits identical to the parents in case of asexual, but new individuals have genetic traits different from their parents in sexual. First of all, we'll start with asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction has types. First one, binary fission. It's a type of asexual reproduction occurs in unicellular protozoans. As you see here, binary fission means that the cell divides into two cells from its half. This type of asexual reproduction occurs in unicellular living organisms in which nucleus is divided by mitosis, and then the cell, which represents the body of a unicellular organism, splits into two cells. Each one becomes a new individual, so we call it binary fission. And the unicellular protozoans here means simple living organism that consists of only one cell, like amoeba, paramecium, and euglena, and also in simple algae and bacteria. As we see here, the cell splits into two sides, into two parts. This is the splitting of the cell into two parts, so we call it binary fission. Second type is budding, which is a type of asexual reproduction, occurs in unicellular living organisms such as yeast, fungus, and multicellular living organisms such as hydra and sponge. Unicellular, as I said, such as yeast, fungus, and multicellular such as hydra and sponge. In this case, the living organism produces or forms buds, so we call it budding. And the bud here means a lateral bulge. This is a lateral bulge in the cell that forms colony. This bulge can grow again to form colony like that and still grow, okay, or to separate to form new individual. It can separate to form new individual. We call it new fungus. So bud in the yeast emerges as lateral bulge in the cell, then the cell nucleus divided by mitosis. One of them remains in the parent cell and the other immigrates to the bud. As we see in the photo here, this is the parent cell and this is the bud, which is lateral bulge, and the nucleus divided mitotically. One in the parent cell and one immigrates to the bud. A bud grows gradually and remains connected to the parent cell until it's fully grown. Then it separates from it to form new fungus if it separates here, or form a colony, and this is what's called colony. And then we have regeneration, third type. Regeneration as what happened in starfish. It's a type of asexual reproduction occurs in starfish, or ability of animals to compensate their missing parts. Starfish arms could be revived if they contain a part of the central disc of the animal, and this is the central disc, this part. In this video you can see that this taken part or cutted part from the starfish will grow again as it contains part of central disc. Here, as you see, it divided into starfish, and each part continue and grow to form new starfish. And then we have spore propagation. Spore propagation is a type of asexual reproduction, occurs in bread mold and mushroom. As you see here in the photo or the video, there is something getting out from it which are spores, and it's getting out from a part called sporangium. This is the spores and this is sporangium. This is the spores, as you see it here, and this part is called sporangium. Sporangium and spore propagation is an interesting type of reproduction. It's a type of asexual reproduction, occurs in bread mold and mushrooms. Sporangium special organs have a large number of spores that release after rupturing its wall. As we said before, it's more common in some fungi as bread mold fungus and mushrooms, and also some algae. Fungi have special organs called sporangia, which is a plural of sporangium. And the sporangium is this part that we saw it before, the spores get out from it. Each sporangium has a large number of spores that release after rupturing its wall, and it appears in the video here in front of you. When spores find a suitable environment, they start growing to give a new organism. For the fifth one is a vegetative propagation. And vegetative propagation, in which plants reproduce by vegetative organs without needing seeds, in which plants reproduce vegetatively without needing seeds by their vegetative organs and the cells. As we see in the video here, we brought potato and we cut it into different parts. Each part will grow again to form new potato. We don't have here seeds. In which plant in this type reproduce vegetatively, as I said, without needing seeds by their vegetative organs and the cells tissue, which is called tissue culturing, in order to produce new plants very similar to the parent plant. Also, it includes cells mitotic division, and as we know, all of the asexual reproduction occurs by mitotic division. Then we have finished now all the types of asexual reproduction, and let's start the second type of sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, most common type of reproduction, especially in higher living organisms, which occurs between two parental individuals. One of them is a male and the other is a female. It depends on two steps. First one is formation of gamete, and second one is fertilization. In the first video we see two gametes, male gamete and female gamete, and both of them are haploid. Gamete in organisms are formed in cells known as reproductive cells by meiotic division, and gametes result from this division contains a half number of chromosomes, which is N, in organisms' somatic cells. So each one of them here has half number of chromosomes. Male gamete, which is sperm, and female gamete, which is ovum, half here and half here. And then we have fertilization, which is a combination between male gamete and female gamete to form zygote, which contains the normal number of chromosomes in the parent cell. As we see here, sperm is trying to enter inside the ovum. This is the ovum, and this is the sperm, and the sperm try to enter inside the ovum. This is E, okay? Tries to enter inside the ovum. Why? To make combination between them, form zygote, which we call it fertilization. And now we understand that asexual reproduction is different than sexual reproduction. Firstly, there is a difference between gamete and zygote. Zygote is a cell that contains genetic material from each parent. When it grows, it gives new offspring whose traits combine each parent's traits. So it has full number of chromosomes. But in case of gamete, It's a cell have half number of chromosomes produced. It's a cell has half number of chromosomes produced from meiotic division in a reproductive cell. So zygote is full number 2n, and gamete is half number 1n. And here we have very important question. First question: asexual reproduction produces offsprings identical to their parents. Why? And the answer will be due to mitosis cell division, in which new offspring gets a full copy of the parent individual's genetic traits, so they are identical. But in case of sexual reproduction, you will notice that there is a difference between them. Why? Resulting from sexual reproduction, which means that we have genetic traits from two sources, male and female, and also we have meiosis cell division, which contains crossing over phenomenon, which gets or gives us more variety and more variation. In the end, in this photo, you will notice that in meiosis, first meiosis, the cell divided into two cells, and then in the second meiosis, it divided into 4 cells, which are called gametes. And these gametes will have half number of chromosomes from male or female. So if it is male, so it will be sperms, female will be ovum, and then they will combine together to form zygote.